Good evening, everyone. Myself, Ms. Cheshta Jalan, and I would like to extend warm welcome to all the participants and our esteemed experts today. Today on the 7th March of Today on the 7th of March 2021, here we are celebrating with all of you our very own first Gibbs International ICBPS Patient Day and initiative by Swati Spentos. With this, I take the pleasure to introduce our experts to all of you. Dr. Sanjay Pandey. He is the Secretary of Gibbs and Head of Department of Urology. He is a specialist in gender reassignment and renal transplantation at Kokilaben Dhirubhai Ambani Hospital, Mumbai, India. Dr. Amita Jain. She is a core member of Gibbs and founder member of FEPA. She is the senior consultant urogynecologist Medanta, the Medicity Gurugram. Dr. Shivam Priyadarshi. He is the core member of Gibbs and the senior professor and unit head in Department of Urology, SMS Medical College and Hospital, Jaipur, India. We have Ms. Arun Dhaya with us today. She is the co-founder of Interstitial Cystitis India, ICI, and a patient advocate. I welcome all of you to the grand opening and celebration of Gibbs International ICBPS Patient Day. Now I request Dr. Sanjay Pandey to take over the session. Thank you.
Very good evening. This is a historic day. It may be a start, and every start always is a time-taking project. 7 years after we conceived this important group called Gibbs, the global forum that today happens to be reaching the pain and discomfort of many patients who are being treated across the world. It's also important for us to reach to those patients directly. And what a wonderful day to actually do that is not at work. That means we all are settled in our own locations, which could be our offices, our places, and choose a time where we possibly could reach out to patients and hear them out, hear their questions, their agony and discomfort. It is on one way to make this International IC Patient Day an important day in the calendar of events that we follow. Remember, as doctors, as caregivers on various subjects, we continue doing a lot by treating patients and by attempting to cure them. Difficult diseases and difficult diagnosis, redo work is what we continue doing around. But the subject today is such where trying to know many unknown facts is also part and parcel of our own learning. The learning that we have been in the journey together as clinicians on various subjects. None of us actually behaves as a urologist or a gynecologist alone in ICBPS. We rate ourselves as caregivers. We look forward to the patient, the family, the partner, and the entire system where the social disturbance has gone to such level, the patient goes into the agony of intermittent exacerbations and changes happening around. Today, when we look at this subject as caregivers to the audience who gradually join us, I think it's important for us to salute the discomfort that the patients go through, and therefore it behoves on us the kind of stories and the real stories we have heard in 1980s and 90s on how patients used to get their academic groups and forums being created in the United States and in Europe, and we emanating from India and trying to reach globally. This is a very important day. This also happens to be an extremely important day for umpteen reasons. The fact that women suffer more than men. I hope the diagnosis and the treatment gets more tailored for men in whom the diagnosis is many a times do missed out as much as name diagnosis in women. It is important for us to look at this comes very close to the International Women's Day celebrations. So celebration not necessarily always is celebrating with flags and with pomp, but also making each of us aware that somewhere somebody is lurking who may not have had a diagnosis. Good evening Jane, good evening all those who have joined on the other forum as attendees. You all are important to us, and your questions will be attended by each of us apart from various questions which have come in. In very short, this is an amazing phenomena of discomfort, where the discomfort goes and undergoes a change from what was a beginning जहाँ पे पहले ब्लैडर भरने से दर्द होता था और दर्द सिर्फ ब्लैडर भरने से होता था, धीरे धीरे बदलता चला गया और फिर पेल्विस में, पेरिनियम में ये दर्द रह जाती है और उसके बाद इसका बहुत हद तक रिलेशन यूरिन से नहीं होता है. Is all about evolution and about the evidence of a disease. And on the other side of the table is expectations of the needy individuals. So episodes after episodes of such discomfort, possibly because it may not have been understood very well with clinicians across the country, could have undergone possibly a misdiagnosis by all of us, including me as clinician. While the progression happens, उसी के साथ anxieties or worries change होते जाते हैं. So while we still treat patients on a different forum altogether, we miss out that these patients deserve a very different kind of a format of treatment. So now that we have moved miles ahead from what we used to do alone, collectively as doctors in this important forum called GIBS, which is so well supported 24/7 by Swati Spento's original thought processes on the subject, where they not only brought the medicine made in India campaign, also emanated this subject to the local neighboring countries, and from there on globally, the dilemmas for us as clinicians continues to happen. Pelvis, जहाँ पे इतने सारे organs होते हैं, जिसमें यूट्रस है, ओवरीज है, इंटेस्टाइन्स है, ब्लैडर है, इन सब चीजों की जो सीट है पेल्विस, उसमें इतने ओवरलैप्स होते हैं और एक क्लिनिशियन को कंफ्यूज कर देता है, बिकॉज पेशेंट जब नीडी बन के आता है, उसकी सिम्टम स्कोरिंग और बॉदरसमनेस हम जब देखते हैं तो पता चलता है कि हम अकेले से ठीक नहीं कर सकते और उसके लिए हमें एक फिजियोथेरापिस्ट, एक फिजियाट्रिस्ट, एक गायनेकोलॉजिस्ट, एक यूरोलॉजिस्ट, एक पेन थेरापिस्ट और बाकी लोगों को सबकी जरूरत पड़ती है. इसका मतलब है आज का दिन इतना इंपॉर्टेंट है टू गिव इट बैक टू द नीडी हु एक्चुअली गोज थ्रू द एगनी, एंड वी ऑलमोस्ट मे हैव नॉट हर्ड collectively what they go through. So some of them are actually arriving as questions because the dilemmas they face, changing clinicians, doctors, कभी गायनेकोलॉजिस्ट को दिखाया, कभी यूरोलॉजिस्ट को दिखाया, लेकिन इस सब्जेक्ट में गायनेकोलॉजिस्ट, यूरोलॉजिस्ट, पेन थेरापिस्ट, फिजियाट्रिस्ट, फिजियोथेरापिस्ट, ये सब मिलके एक टीम बनते हैं. बिकॉज इस तरह की डिजीज जिसमें इतना ओवरलैप है, जितने इसमें सिम्टम कॉम्प्लेक्स है और इसकी फैक्ट फाइल हर महीने हर साल चेंज होती जाती है और आपकी डिजीज प्रोग्रेस होती जाती है, आपकी क्वालिटी ऑफ लाइफ जो एम्पावर होने के बदले में नीचे धीरे डिग्रेड हो रही है और ड्रामेटिकली बहुत सी चेंजेस हो रही हैं जो आपको क्रिपल कर रही है. ये बनता है हमारा कि हम इस सब्जेक्ट को इतना दुरुस्त करें और इस तरह से इस ग्लोबल फोरम में आने के लिए आप सबका बहुत धन्यवाद. ये जो सक्सेस हमें आज गिब्स में पिछले 6-7 साल में मिला है, जिसमें स्वाति स्पेंटोस का इतना बड़ा योगदान रहा है जो इस सब्जेक्ट को आगे ले गए, इसके दो बड़े लीडर्स चेष्टा और दीप्ति, जो 24/7 आप पेशेंट्स की तरफ और हम सब डॉक्टर्स की तरफ एक जो कनेक्शन का संबंध बना के लाए हैं, वो एक तरह का गोल पोस्ट चेंज करते गए हैं इस सब्जेक्ट में. So as we change wonderful goalposts gradually as we move forward, I think we have arrived with wonderful wings of change. We have brought change, obviously, albeit we could bring that change amazingly in many things. But right from defining guidelines, attempting to treat, and many of us in the core group, of which 2 very important core members are here today, we many a time exchange patient ideas, patients discussions and cases amongst ourselves when we treat such patients. जब ब्लैडर में और पेल्विस में इस तरह का विशियस साइकिल चेंज हो रहा होता है, हम अपने गाइडलाइंस को, अपनी वर्किंग प्रिंसिपल्स को दुरुस्त करते जाते हैं और एक बिजी प्रैक्टिस में इस सब्जेक्ट को उतना टाइम देते हैं बिकॉज प्रोग्रेशन तो हो ही रहा है. जहां से शुरू हुआ था वो तो पता नहीं, लेकिन जहां जा रहा है वो बहुत गड़बड़ हो सकता है. इसलिए हमारा ये प्रकोप हर समय रहता है कि लेट अस हैव द वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एस्पेक्ट ऑफ इंप्रूविंग क्वालिटी ऑफ लाइफ, अटेम्प्टिंग टू ट्रीट टू द हाईएस्ट पॉसिबल लेवल, attempt towards a cure, which is what that we could discuss in questions and answers. And finally, I must say that we have the motto of save the bladder. कोई एक small subset of patients जिसमें हम लोग augmentation या subsequent cystoplasty करते हैं, आज हम उस लेवल को जा चुके हैं जहां हम इस सब्जेक्ट को बहुत ऊपर ले गए. तो फ्रेंड्स, मैं डॉक्टर अमिता और डॉक्टर शिवम को बारी बारी से कुछ सेंटेंसेस इस सब्जेक्ट के बारे में और हमारी जर्नी के बारे में बोलने दूंगा, जब तक और भी कुछ हमारे फ्रेंड्स जो टेबल के उस पार हैं, जो एगनी से जुड़े हुए हैं और जो हमें अच्छा देखना चाहते हैं कि हम इस सब्जेक्ट को आगे बढ़ाएं. The light at the end of the tunnel is really shining very strong. It is for us to look at the dilemmas go away and we get into the subject. Obviously, it's a difficult subject. There's no doubt about it. And everybody will treat it differently at different points in time when a patient arrives on the table at that point in time. So for us, it will always be a situation where we will continue to evolve with the burning, the pain, the discomfort, and the kind of changes which continue to happen. Friends, as we evolve today, into an international IC patient day at GIBS. I invite Dr. Amita first, and then Dr. Shivam to speak few words, and then we'll open the forum towards the other side with Arun Dahiya ji. Dr. Amita, you first.
Thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity and for doing this initiative, because I think it's very important. Being a urogynecologist, I am basically a gynecologist, but I did my fellowship in urogynecology and joined a department of urology. So initially, I just want to tell you that being a female, probably, and because many of the patients with a diagnosis of recurrent UTI used to come to me, and then I came to know there is a disease, interstitial cystitis. But to tell you very frankly, even I used to get nervous once I was getting those patients, because at that time, 10 years back, I was not having any idea what kinds of treatment can be given to the patients. And that's why, even books were showing that yes, there is no permanent treatment. Delimaz or there, the medication, the pentosan polysulfate, which is actually now introduced by Swati Pentosa in India, was at that time we used to that was getting imported from outside with the name Almiron, and it was very difficult to get that medication at the time. And I'm so thankful for this GIBS as well, because once I came to know there is a forum which is starting, then I was after the president of this forum, Dr. Taneja, that I want to get involved. Why? Because I wanted to learn. I wanted to learn to treat the patients. And I'm telling you, after that, I started treating my patients, and I started seeing them getting pain-free, that hope. जो उनको एक पेशेंट्स को एक रहता था कि हम कभी ठीक ही नहीं हो सकते, जो एक नेगेटिविटी थी वो धीरे धीरे कम हुई, क्योंकि मुझ में कॉन्फिडेंस आया. तो I just want to say you that there is not a lack of awareness among patients, it's also among the caregivers, which actually at GIBS we are trying to spread the awareness. And my because Ms. Arun Dahiya and many participants to the patients are here, so my मेरा यही मैसेज होगा कि अभी भी पेशेंट्स का सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट होता है जब हमसे इंटरेक्शन के बाद, दे आर एक्चुअली सर्चिंग एट गूगल. So it's your duty as well, who has suffered and who has actually got relief, to something writing in positivity. क्योंकि जैसे अभी डॉक्टर शिवम ने बताया कि सफरिंग बहुत लिखी गई है, लेकिन पॉजिटिव चीजें अगर आप लोग स्प्रेड करोगे कि there is a treatment, patient can get relief, there would be a pain-free period as well, though there is no permanent treatment, but there are many other diseases, diabetes, hypertension, permanent treatment नहीं है, लेकिन इस disease में आप बिल्कुल बीच में ठीक हो सकते हो. How to control the disease at early stage. और जैसे कि डॉक्टर संजय ने बोला, there are many treatments, but probably 90% of the patient don't require that advanced surgical procedures. तो ये सारा चीजें अगर हमारे आप लोग इस तरह से स्प्रेड करेंगे, तो आई थिंक जो हमारा एम था एस्टैब्लिश करने का GIBS, वो सक्सेसफुल होगा. दैट्स ऑल आई वांट टू से.
डॉक्टर शिवम, सर, यू आर म्यूटेड.
नमस्कार. मैं सबसे पहले तो आभार व्यक्त करता हूँ GIBS का और स्वाति पेंटोस का कि हमें मौका दिया यहाँ आने का और आप सब लोगों के साथ रूबरू होने का. तो ये जो सब्जेक्ट है, और क्योंकि ये जो इनिशिएटिव लिया है स्वाति पेंटोस ने, ये बहुत ही काबिल तारीफ है, क्योंकि आज हम जानते हैं कि हमारी जो 50% पॉपुलेशन है वो विमेन है, और जब तक हम विमेन को एम्पावर नहीं कर पाएंगे तब तक हम प्रोग्रेस नहीं कर सकते. The world cannot progress without women. So women empowerment is very important, and we know there are conditions which really bother women, and one of this nagging and chronic problem is chronic pelvic pain, which bothers millions and millions of women around the world. And it has been seen in the studies that almost 1/3 to 40% of these chronic pelvic pain is probably associated with interstitial cystitis and bladder pain syndrome. So ये एक बहुत अच्छा इनिशिएटिव है कि लोगों को अवेयर किया जाए अबाउट दिस कंडीशन ऑफ ICBPS, क्योंकि there are millions who are suffering but very few who understand this problem. तो मैं एक बार फिर से सबको धन्यवाद देता हूं और अपनी चर्चा को जारी रखते हैं.
धन्यवाद शिवम सर. Friends, we've always heard in these webinars that when we speak up about patients, we're able to speak up only that much which we correlate on from the other side of the table, which is the diagnosis. And in our hurry to attempt to treat, attempt to do magic across the table, we sometimes miss out many things. The agony that patients would go through in such situations is huge and immense. It's been something of that kind, where unless we give a chance to hear our own colleagues who have been going through the agony around it, it'll be tough. ICI is such an amazing organization, and we have the co-founder Arun Dahiya from the ICI group, who actually has been motivating patients towards the progression of improvement, and that's where GIBS motto also stands very tall. If you look at the large picture on the subject, we many a time say, your life is your message to the world, and therefore make it sure that it's very inspiring. From the words of Arun Dahiya and Balaka, I know that it's been so inspiring of them to have opened up a forum which actually has taken its roots not only from India, but has gone all the world over, and we have colleagues who have joined in around. So to hear this inspiring thing about how to take it forward and look at some suggestions too, because that will actually make us grow to the next level, which we all aim for together as doctors, caregivers, patients, and the society. I would invite Arun Dahiya ji to speak a few words, take us forward in this journey, because your speech and your talk will be a harbinger to a lot of questions and answers which could come in. We would also like to question ourselves as to what we have been doing. Arun Dahiya ji, you're welcome.
Thank you for welcoming me. It's an honor that for the first time someone is listening to our voices and not only just deciding for us that what is to be done. As you all know that IC is a very disabling disease, especially in the starting. There's a whole plethora of questions that we have in our mind. And, you know, it is not easy to keep running to doctors for everything. There is a certain extent to which a doctor can help. It's not like we keep going to them daily and like keep bringing them multiple times of a day. So when I can share from my experience, when this journey started for me, I felt that I was the only person who had this disease. Over a period of time, we came across many patients, not from outside only, from India too. After that, I came to know about Balaka Basu, who is the founder of Interstitial Cystitis India, and then I joined her in her work. So, in our group, what we noticed that there are lots of patients who are undergoing through so much of trauma and constant pain. Some of them are patients who have been misdiagnosed for 20 years. Can you imagine the suffering of a person who don't even know what he has going on from like 20 years? Living a painful life for 20 years. Okay. It's not only that, there are many patients and each of us represent with different symptoms, different approaches for treatment work for us, and also this diet, what works for someone may not work for other. That's why we created Interstitial Cystitis India. So here at least we can share our personal experiences, what we are going through, what suggestions we were given. We can share and match our symptoms and ask, okay, what is helping you? What can help? So not only this, you know, when you have a chronic painful disease, emotional pain is a huge part. A doctor would listen to your complaining like once or twice a month. And after some time, if you're complaining to your family, they would listen to you for a few days, months. But after a time, it's like, this is a daily thing. Okay, grow up and move on with this. Here come the chronic pain support groups come because we all here have a same thing going on. We all have same pain going on. So we are able to provide that emotional support, that emotional connection that yeah, you are not alone in the suffering. We are there for you. We will find some solution. We would move forward together. So our patients also share some questions. Uh, we can maybe look into them in the next question answer session. And as a patient, what my main point is that, please, no offense, uh, ICU is not about only urologists. Only urologists can't alone in itself can treat interstitial cystitis. You would need a multidisciplinary team. What we are seeing that very few urologists both at risk or the patient should have and the pelvic floor should be assessed by the physiotherapist and rightful help should be provided also. When the pain is the disabling factor, a pain specialist can play a huge role in improving the quality of the life of the patient. So this is something we want that all urologists should follow. Also, uh, rather than jumping to invasive procedures in the starting, there should be a guideline that uh, this is the step-by-step procedure that need to be followed. Okay, first the lifestyle changes, then oral medications, then any interventions that should be done. What we have noticed is there's no clear communication or hierarchy that is being followed by the urologists here. Maybe followed by some, but it's not popular everywhere. And so, and our patients are not only limited to metropolitan cities, they are patients from far-flung areas where urologists don't even know what interstitial cystitis is. There is need of an awareness what can be done towards that. Also, should I share the questions put forward by the members or should I share them later?
Go ahead, Arun. Actually, I would say that we are all a party to the pain on this subject in many ways, and we all bear responsibility. There is no single individual who could look into treating this alone. You could share a few questions to start with. I would take the rest of the questions with my colleagues. But we have heard the pain, and we can understand that, like any other disease where there's a very stepwise focused approach. For example, there's a bleeding in urine. You see a urologist, he does an ultrasound, he does a CT scan, he treats a cancer or a stone, and the disease is over. This disease defies a natural profile and a profile of 1 + 1 = 2. This disease has actually beaten science in being in that location where umpteen things are happening together. So we all take responsibility of still learning, but it's not that we are learning ABCD anymore on this subject because we have teamed together. And that's one reason why over the last 1.5 years, there has been a flurry to reach both urologists and gynecologists to make India one and probably the world one. That is what the global need was. We still lack that from team reasons, but there are colleagues right now joined in from various countries, and I can see that it really is a proud Sunday evening for us here, where though we have started small on this topic compared to the topic of having doctors discuss and probably selfishly learn things and go back to the clinics and practice it, we are still very keen to hear what do patients say. Each of us goes through the agony where a patient sits across the consult table, sometimes cries and weeps around. Sometimes we see the agony of the relatives which go through who don't know what to do. They travel cities and they come around with hope that there is an IC specialist or there's a bladder pain syndrome specialist. The entire attempt to make everybody an ambassador on the subject and be on the same page, maybe a little journey that we are all going through, and in between the schedules that we go through, it behoves upon us, each of us, to take the subject extremely strongly. And therefore, we decided to keep it on a Sunday and also empowering our patients to speak up as much. We have got the house open. So Arun, can you go ahead with some questions which our panel will take?
My first question is there any advancement currently going in the field of interstitial cystitis? Because personally, I can say from last 10 plus years, I've been seeing only the similar medications, nothing major breakthrough. Maybe you know the better, so would you share it?
I will let Dr. Shivam come in. Dr. Shivam, if you could unmute yourself, and Dr. Amita, we will look at answering you jointly so you feel comfortable about what is the world moving on this. We may not be the world, but together I think we all can move the world, and that is what the attempt today is. Dr. Shivam, advancements which are looking possible, practical to Arun and the entire team watching us today.
Namaskar. First of all, again, it's a very good initiative because I feel that it is very important that when doctors and patients come together, then they can actually make difference in the medical science. Because alone, probably we do not know what the patients are actually suffering from or thinking, right? So it's a very good initiative, and congratulations to all the who are associated with it. So about ICBPS, a lot of research is going on still, but we do not have still gone to a marker or validated marker which can actually diagnose ICBPS, which is still lacking. But there are some works going, as we know, anti-proliferative factor and other markers. But still, we are lacking a diagnostic marker. But actually, after so much of discussion, we at least know now that how to proceed evaluating a case which comes with symptoms like urgency, frequency, and pain, which is associated in the pelvic area. So what I personally feel that the algorithm of evaluation of such a patient should be that when a patient comes with this, we actually go into the history and physical examination of the patient, and then we do basic investigation of a urine routine examination and an ultrasound. And then that actually tells us that this is either a case of a complicated ICBPS or uncomplicated ICBPS. That is, we have ruled out other causes, and it is typical symptoms which are of ICBPS. If that is so, then we actually, all of us now agree that we need to do a cystoscopy in these patients, and that would differentiate between two basic phenotypes in ICBPS. One is a Hunner's ICBPS and is a non-Hunner's ICBPS. Because we know a Hunner's ICBPS would proceed in a different way totally and has a different kind of prognosis and quality of life. So we will differentiate between the two and then proceed accordingly. And then we do a phenotyping. So phenotyping is, again, very important, that every patient cannot be treated in the same way. So we need to treat every patient in a unique manner. So that is a U-point phenotype that we have come up with, that if the patient has urinary symptoms which are basically bothering, then we need to treat him accordingly. If it is psychosocial, then it would be different. If it is organ specific, it would be different. If it is a pelvic floor myofascial tenderness, etc., then it would be different. So all these are some advancement which would definitely help us to evaluate this patient and treat them accordingly. Yes.
Right, sir. So as rightly pointed out, Arun, we heard Dr. Shivam talk about that. Maybe 10 years ago, you and I were different in the subject. The subject is still the same. While we look at science and research happening, we also look at treating our patients better and faster, identifying things earlier. And therefore, you may have two kinds of treatments happening. There are patients who suffer for 5 and 10 years, as you rightly pointed out, and suffered for so long. The approach there may not be giving them medicines on the day they come, but to identify and probably be a little more aggressive to reach that. So that's where you may find invasive activity much faster. They may do a cystoscopy much earlier because we cannot be waiting on the sidelines while changes is happening. अगर दरवाजे के उस तरफ से आवाज आ रही है तो दरवाजा खोल के जानने की जरूरत है कि आवाज किस तरह की आ रही है. We're living in India where, don't forget, apart from ICBPS, there could be close to more numbers of patients suffering from bladder tuberculosis, a disease that, Dr. Shivam sees more in medical colleges where patients do come and a bladder is completely lost. Therefore, I use the word so-called save the bladder. He also used that important term where we have now been able to differentiate the disease into IC Hunner's and non-Hunner's disease. And we have brought a huge change on, therefore, medical management into whom to do what. The painkillers are not anymore painkillers. They are pain modifiers. There are various medicines which actually bring about nerve changes, nerve regenerations, and deviation of the natural history of discomfort that you go through while the clinician takes it forward. So huge amount of work has happened in my own lifetime on this subject around, and very rightly said, we cannot miss out a disease, and therefore you will find some clinicians doing a cystoscopy much earlier than others, only because the disease has already been happening for quite some time. Behind the curtains, what is happening sometimes may be required to actually move forward. So if a colleague urologist or a gynecologist or a caregiver has attempted to do a cystoscopy on day 1 or week 1, it is because the progression of the disease, the alarming nature of passing 40 times a day with so much of discomfort, which has changed his picture, which I talked about, brings about a dilemma both to the patient, relatives, and the doctors. They all want to know more. So to know more, there may be no major imaging which will give the picture other than a great clinical examination. Don't forget, you all have added a very important evaluation called as examination under anesthesia, where clinicians, apart from examining patients awake and can identify the myofascial bands, which our colleagues Dr. Navita and Raju and all those do, there are also us who actually examine things under anesthesia and take it forward to understand the anatomical bladder capacity. It's something which will held up by cystoscopy route. So the clinician of the day in the clinic where he examines a patient is the best judge all the time. And therefore, I will request Dr. Amita to answer this question about the changes in practice or the changes in therapy over the last 10 years, Amita, that we heard from Dr. Shivam. And to add on.
So, sir, once we actually established GIBS and we actually released our guidelines, we discussed all the points, because even we thought about the perspectives of Indian patients, because it's very important. India में हो सकता है जो practice है वो बहुत different है, हमारी diet different है, हमारा lifestyle different है. So that's why we actually made changes and we released our own guidelines. उसमें now we are actually thinking laterally as well, because the most important thing is the etiology. Still we don't know what is the exact cause, and there could be many things. Now we talk about that there could be intertalk between the different organs in the pelvis. So there, the origin could be from these different organs. So that's why now we are, you rightly said that we need to involve other specialists as well once we find that probably pathology started from some other organ. First thing. Second thing, we actually, our aim is not only to diagnose interstitial cystitis. Actually, we have to, we don't need that, there shouldn't be any false diagnosis as well. We have to rule out that as well. So that's why we have actually decided the duration as well, that at what duration symptoms are persisting, then we have to decide whether it's interstitial cystitis or something else. And we have actually released our own guideline where we have categorized what investigations are required, specifically depending on the symptoms, where there is what are the findings of the preliminary investigations that we need to do some advanced investigation or not. All these things are now very clearly defined. The advantage of this thing is that it is available for every clinician right now, so they don't have the dilemma क्या करें, जो मैंने भी face किया था. और आपको बताऊं कि जो यूरोलॉजी का सबसे बड़ा बुक होता है कैम्बल, अब उसमें चैप्टर है ब्लैडर पेन सिंड्रोम पर. So can you imagine that how much advancement has occurred, that now actually we are looking at each and every aspect of this disease, even the age. Now पहले हम सोचते थे कि it is a disease of specifically women and a kind of reproductive age women, but now we are finding the disease in children, in young girls as well, and even the men are suffering a lot. So these are the things we have come across. So don't think that there is no advancement. It shouldn't be that some kind of miracle medication we are getting, but we actually thinking that there are many other aspects of this disease, and we are working a lot on this thing.
Thanks, Amita. Amita, so the issue here is we are dealing with a multifactorial disease,
yes,
which requires a multimodal therapy with a multidisciplinary team. And therefore, a patient who goes to one single clinician may unfortunately be little found lost, because her complaints and bothersomeness would be in one direction, which is obviously very significant. The doctor is, while treating the bothersomeness on those aspects, which is pain, which is urgency frequency, which is quality of life, where sometimes people have to resign and give up their their entire work and activity and come down to much baser level of work. We're also looking at GIBS. Amita, the core team has actually in the last 5 years made changes through recommendations of Dr. Shivam and Dr. Apul about looking at cystoscopy किसमें पहले की जाए, कौन सी investigation आगे बढ़ी जाए. So our GIBS guidelines are just not guidelines. Our GIBS guidelines are, I would say, best clinical practices and safe practices where we handhold not only our own team, but very youngsters who have taken up the subject. So more youngsters have taken up the subject compared to 15 people who have started the group 7 years ago. More youngsters in gynecology, urology, general practice have understood the subject, and more so, many relatives have understood it. Remember, the very agony which Arun Dahia spoke about is about many women suffer and many of their husbands don't even understand what is going on. They to see the relief in the eyes of the woman who is going through this and to empower her to a better life, take this patient gently from one city to other clinic, to other hospital, to other specialty, and attempt to do all, while they find it very frustrating that nothing is happening. In these things, there's a dramatic sea change in our lifetimes. I think we have seen that change is actually happening. Arun, your next question was that we would possibly be misdiagnosing such patients. And that's where I would like to answer you. Yeah. So is your next question misdiagnosis?
No, sir, I wanted to add that, not only multimodal things and that they present with different factors. Many patients present with multiple disorders too. There is vulvodynia, there is a whole lot of fibromyalgia going on. Personally, I can say I got central sensitization due to this, and that started a whole lot of whole body issues. So how they should be approached? Because after this becoming a multiple pain disorder thing, it becomes very confusing and difficult to treat.
Yeah. So remember, the pain in multiple sites, in multiple triggers, unknown situations. When the whole world sleeps, you wake up with pain. When you walk or when you wear clothes or when you are in lumpy, bumpy roads, you get pain. Central sensitization out of a progressive change happening from a peripheral organ comes up. The medicines in pain therapy have gone dramatically. And therefore, physiatrists and pain therapists, and your very first sentence that possibly one doctor may not be able to treat and we need to all create our own groups, is because as a clinician individually, each of us in this very important forum today will also get lost with every patient because there's only this much we can handle in a disease. There's not a straightforward 1 + 1 = 2 is what we have heard. Now, in that situation, the pain therapy has gone much higher. And therefore, the clinicians now understand that they will have to look into all these entire aspects of pain therapies, which on one side goes into relieving the spasms of the pelvic muscles, relieving the discomfort, relieving the kind of pain which emanates from the neuralgia. So you call it as vulvodynia, or releasing something which is more of vestibulitis, or releasing something which is deep pelvic floor dysfunction of the kind where you need injectable therapies out there. So ideally, a pain therapist is a part of the groups in majority of the teams that we are creating today, and we enthuse them to do it. It's just not that we reach the city, have a meeting and come out. We look at the backwash of it and look at how does, and that DT and Cheshta have been looking forward to that, who all have become a part of your larger team. They may not be working together, but it's a referral-based system where I look at, then I have seen this part, can Dr. Navita see the other part and Dr. Mahesh see the other part, and can we combine together that aspect of it. So to me, the pain therapy has evolved dramatically. The pain therapies are such where there are lines placed and from which we can give a patient control. The pain therapy is about identifying the causes, and therefore it's not one-day affair. The pain also changes its location, changes its character, changes its dramatic radiation which happens around. And now the pain therapy is growing. It's a full-fledged subject right now. And the various kind of pain therapy approaches that we take up, which the doctors have explained and are explaining, is about giving those medicines in combined dosages where you get the effects, but not the side effect. The problem is each of these drugs treating central sensitization and the localized discomfort of that area, be it anything from sensivals to senapitols to atarax to pregabalins and gabapentines and everything to amlodipine, to amitriptyline, all of them actually have got an effect which is unwanted. The problem with us all human beings is that we don't want anything unwanted. Now already we have got an unwanted disease which is taking a toll on life. To have unwanted side effects not to happen, we normally go up the dose and up the ladder. Dr. Shivam, you want to add a sentence to this?
Just answering to her question about advances in the field of ICBPS. Besides in the investigation, one of the important advancement is MRI. MRI imaging, high resolution T1 weighted images can actually, they say, can diagnose the thickness of the bladder wall and actually what is going in the bladder wall. So that is one of the very important advances in imaging. And even the functional MRI can tell you about the central sensitization of the pain, which is happening in these patients in chronic pelvic pain. So some of these are very important advancements. Then in therapy, we have a lot of other things going on like hyperbaric oxygen therapy, then some immune modulators, then tacrolimus is coming way, then liposomal things are coming, intravesical liposomes, etc. And I was just thinking, one of the important way to treat these patients who have actually pain emanating from bladder. So that is intravesical installation. Sometimes this process becomes very cumbersome. So just before this webinar only, I was just thinking, because I have got some adapters which can be actually attached to syringes, and the patients can themselves put this syringes, instill this pre-filled syringes and do the intravesical installation. So I was just thinking, why not start this kind of thing, give them pre-filled syringes of the cocktail and teach them how to inject them by themselves. So that would be a very good therapy mode to recover the patients from pain. So that was to add on those. Yes, Sanjay.
Completely fine. So yeah, completely fine. That means we go ahead and involve patients not only in giving a therapy across the table, but them to become their own caregivers, giving us a feedback into what is happening, like in some diseases where it happens around. Arun, you have any other questions which is direct?
Yes, sir. I have one more question. Many patients have, vulvodynia, etc., and there isn't any specific treatment option for that. Is vulvoscopy done anywhere in India? Also, how vulvodynia patients are treated? Also, currently we were reading about, Almiron causing retinal damage. Is there any study regarding Comfora? Does it affect eyesight also? Is there any advisory regarding this?
Wonderful. So the first part of question, Dr. Amita, you want to address both the parts of question, vulvodynia part and then Almiron, and then we'll come again and discuss that.
So the thing is that if we talk about vulvodynia, it's a different kind of disease, and we have to see vulvodynia is a kind of, actually you are giving it's the diagnosis which is given once you rule out other things like other kind of pathology. There could be many other things, pain at vulva without any pathology, and seems to be because of the hypersensitivity of that part. You understand? So that's a very specific diagnosis, which is actually again the diagnosis of exclusion. And the treatment is again how patient is presenting, what is the age group. So we have to individualize the treatment for that particular patient. We have to see the factors associated, what kinds of sufferings are there. There are many things which can be done if there is a problem in sexual activity. What is the nature of vulvodynia? And gradually, many things are there. Like the most important thing is counseling. The foremost thing is counseling. The patient will be happy to get a diagnosis. There are many medications which are directed for the neuropathic pain, and there are many kinds of physiotherapies as well for these kinds of patients. It's a very difficult disease to treat, but yes, there are many things which are tried, and the first and foremost thing is counseling. Why? Because it's a time-taking process. Don't think that there would be something which will happen suddenly and patient will get rid of the problem suddenly. We have to actually gradually enhance the treatment. So that is the first part. Second part about the Almiron. So Almiron, yes, the same substance, pentosan polysulfate. The thing is that I always tell my patients that yes, once we are starting, we have diagnosed the patient with bladder pain syndrome and we have started. So usually the duration is for 6 months. I never encourage patient for self-medication. That is very, very important. Sometimes patients think that, yes, it is working. I can take the medication for years and years. I think that is the problem. And the patient must be aware of all kinds of side effects as well. So they should report as early as possible whenever there is any kind of side effects. That's the most important thing that we, that's the thing that probably we have to give more time to these patients. Whenever a patient of bladder pain syndrome comes to me, probably even my, my coordinator tells me that, yes, that I understand that probably you are seeing a patient of bladder pain syndrome because you took almost double time to, counsel that patient. That's very important. We cannot segregate beforehand that, yes, this patient could be of interstitial cystitis, but it occurs with me that whenever the patient comes to me and I found that the patient is of the disease, then probably I give more time to those patients to counsel. That is the most important thing. That's the answer. Because we have to tell them each and everything. What are the treatments available? What are the side effects? How? And there are so many questions of the patients, and we have to actually counsel the family members as well, because they should believe that, yes, this is a disease and it can be treated. That is very, very important. So that's my answer.
Thanks, Dr. Amita. Jane, there was a wonderful question which Dr. Shivam already answered regarding bladder MRI revealing a defective leaky urothelium and a ganglion. But yes, the MRI has also been used as functional studies. The Journal of Urology, which is our Bible in urological subjects, has talked about the changes in the white and the gray matter, something which has actually worked wonders in terms of segregating the patient. This may still be a research topic compared to be a real topic around, but I gather that this will be the harbinger of the newer times to come where we'll pick up and identify that. Jane, thanks for that question. Dr. Shivam, there's a question, there's a comment. Look at this. This is again from Jane. And many doctors only look at the pain in our patients and forget that the patient's life can be utterly ruined by the urgent and frequent need to urinate day and night. This makes them stressed, anxious, and exhausted. Sleep deprivation can have a very detrimental impact on the patients, which is not always realized. So as rightly asked by Jane, in nocturia, bedwetting, number one, and in this condition where there's forced frequency because the pain would come or the pain is already coming in, it gets very difficult. Sleep deprivation, because day and night it's all about washroom, fairing catheter being placed, also becoming more difficult and painful. Tell us, Dr. Shivam, your experience and Gibbs ideas on what does happen. Do we forget these patients and their sleep deprivation?
Yeah, definitely, yes. These symptoms affect in many ways. One of that is that they have to go to the toilet every now and then. So it disturbs their social life, it disturbs their professional work life also, it disturbs their sexual activity also. So in many ways, this would definitely bother them. So it is very important that this is dealt in a multi-pronged manner. Like we need to think not only in the terms of the bladder pathology, but also we need to think in terms of behavioral therapy, in terms of like dietary restrictions, fluid restrictions, and about how to actually, and then if the urinary symptoms are too much, then we need to add anticholinergic or antimuscarinic to these patients, and how to reduce the frequency of urination. And then definitely we have to see whether there is actually a low bladder capacity or not. If there is actually a low bladder capacity following ICBPS, then definitely the treatment would change drastically, because then probably the patient would need a surgical option rather than medical or behavioral therapy. So we need to actually evaluate these patients, what is actually causing the frequency in these patients, and treat accordingly.
Absolutely. Sleep deprivation out of the trauma that is on, a non-relenting trauma which exacerbates with UTIs and with stress, is a huge aspect around. I remember a few patients who actually required almost catheterization out of that 40 times a day going to the washroom, all of which are painful. For a while accepted catheter, and then the catheter also failed. It could not get the sleep because the whole bladder was in a pancystitis phase around. So that's quite a difficult scenario. Jane, thank you from Holland for having been a part of ICBPS GIBS group, being in all the meetings, supporting us and taking it forward to very high levels in our understanding that we need to listen to patients and these things which we miss out. While we push so much of it into pain, sleep deprivation, and Arun did speak about something very important. We possibly forget the psychiatric component many a times. I concede that all the patients may not have seen the psychiatrist, which I now gather that my own holistic speaking may not help. There are times when the psychiatrist would have a different language and a different way. Maybe a clinical psychologist, I would like them to get involved more frequently on this aspect. Your thoughts on that, Dr. Shivam and Dr. Amita, back to back, on the psychiatrist being a part of the larger group?
Can I add something?
Yes, please.
Go ahead.
Right.
Okay, so I have my therapist involved from like last few years. Not only this, that they help with the stress part. If you have a chronic health condition, there's like CBT and dialectical behavior therapy. They help you to learn how to manage your symptoms as well as reduce coping strategies and behavior modifications that can improve the quality of your life. So this is something I guess should be included in the treatment plan of patients.
Exactly. That's what exactly I was going to say. Many of my colleagues know actually I am a very big proponent of yoga. And yoga, I have written an article also about how yoga can actually help ICBPS patients. So yoga is a way in which you can actually reduce the stress which is related to ICBPS. Yoga with its centering and breathing exercises, which actually help you to reduce the stress. It reduces the stimulation of the sympathetic activity in your body. It releases endorphins also. And by the slow movement, by different postures and poses and asanas, it can actually help you to improve the different, if there is any tension present in one of these pelvic floor muscles, it will try to help those muscles also to strengthen them. And all these would definitely reduce the stress related to ICBPS and improve the quality of life in these patients. So doing various asanas, I have mentioned various asanas. Some of them are like doing a Bhujangasana, doing a Cobra pose, or doing with a Makrasana, and there are various other asanas and pranayams which actually help these patients a lot. So I think yoga with asanas and meditations and breathing exercise definitely can reduce the stress in these patients. Yes, Sanjay.
Good one actually. So we were looking at this important aspect, Dr. Shivam, of Mahesh ji being on the audience right now, and Mahesh ji had a question to ask when he said that if pain is 75% subsided, that means my pain is 3/4 gone. I now have an hourly frequency of urination. Then which medication, as none of the OAB medicines are helping? So he is today. Rajesh Taneja Saab is not there. He is also going to be speaking to us on many of these important aspects, which many times we don't get to hear. I want to hear from you that the frequency urgency component, which is still there after having pain reduced almost completely, is not being managed by any of the OAB medicine that he's taking. His PSA range is in the 6 to 7. I gather the PSA range of a patient who has been mentioned by Mahesh ji more probably could be a chronic prostatitis kind of a picture. Something where men's health has not given enough due credence to that important aspect of discomfort, which also is associated with pelvic floor changes and prostatitis. So OAB medicine is not working around in a male, which is again a completely forgotten issue altogether. Dr.
Yes.
Dr. Shivam, could you hear the question?
No, I couldn't hear the question. It was just there was some disturbance in the signal. Yes, please go ahead.
Yes. So if the pain is 75% subsided, yes, and there's hourly frequency of urination, then which medication, because the common OAB medicines are not working and my PSA range is within 6 to 7?
Definitely, we need to evaluate this patient, because if the PSA is 6 to 7, we need to find out, do a rectal examination if necessary. If we find there is any doubt, we need to do a TRUS-guided biopsy also. What is the age of the patient, by the way? If the age is above 50, then
late 60s.
He is in 60s. Right, so we must rule out prostatic malignancy in such a patient. And after ruling out these such things, if we think that this is just a case of chronic pelvic pain syndrome, or it is a case of chronic prostatitis or ICBPS, then definitely these patients require, there's a very important role of avoiding diarrhea. It's very important to give these patients avoiding diarrhea and know exactly how the amount of fluid they are taking, at what time they are taking, what kind of fluids they are taking, and what is the exact urinary frequency, and at what if the nocturia is more than the daytime frequency. All these would matter in how to treat these patients. So it's important we can give them behavioral therapy, we can ask them to have fluid restriction, we can, besides antimuscarinics, we can also give them certain therapies in the form that how to stop this urge of having to go to the bathroom every time. So there are some distraction techniques which can be taught to these patients not to go to bathroom exactly when they feel the urge. So it's a kind of timed voiding. They have to void with time, with clock, and not with urge. So there are very many other options that can be given to the patient as we evaluate these patients. So I think this can be taken, this can be resolved after we think all these things in such a patient. Yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. So relook the whole thing again. If something is not helping, which was helping before, or should have helped because it helps 90% of patients, we need to relook the whole thing again. That's what Dr. Shivam said. Relook at the whole thing, because there's a progression of change. At 60s to 70s, the prostate also will be misbehaving. And who knows, from non-invasive to invasive investigations, as it deems fit to get that important bothersomeness now sorted out. Dr. Amita, there is a question from Amitesh Yadavji, and that is something which we should discuss. Dr. Amita, if you are around, and if you are unmuted, Dr. Shivam, you too. Sir, after taking medicine, the pain in the bladder gets reduced, but the urgency frequency and painful urination. So pain in the bladder is reduced, but the urgency frequency and painful urination is still the same. That means, does it mean that that IC is reducing, or is it moving to the next stage of symptoms? That means something has improved, other things have not improved. The pain in the bladder has gone, which may be a constant pain or a dull pain or a pain of various origins. But right now, the urgency frequency and painful urination, the urinary component is still quite significant. What does it mean? Amita.
Yes, sir. So, so I'm sure that once a patient has been given treatment, that patient must have been evaluated completely, and any component of UTI, everything has been ruled out. That's why the treatment was started. So I can tell you my way of treating. So suppose I have given a treatment to the patient, and I always ask patient to come for follow-up. So, and give time, because it's not like if I have started treatment and on the next very day, the patient will have complete relief. So they have to give time. So it's even the amitriptyline, all these kinds of the first line medication takes 5 to 6 days, 4 to 5 days to have the full effect. So I always ask patient to give a time, at least 1 to 2 weeks, to see whether they are able to, having a good relief in the symptoms. Suppose after doing everything, all lifestyle modifications, pain killers, amitriptyline, all these things, whatever treatment has been given is not working, then on follow-up, my question is how much relief you have. Like it's more than 50% or less than 50%. If it is more than 50%, sometimes increasing the dose of the same medication which I have prescribed works. But if it is less than 50%, then probably we have to think about either we have not reached to the correct diagnosis, or patient has moved to the next stage and require the next stage of treatment. So these are the kinds of, all these things require proper follow-up, and patient must tell all these things before deciding treatment. That is my answer, and it's my dream probably on one day I can have a kind of team where I can have a dietitian, I can have a psychiatrist, I can have all those specialists who like neurologists, everyone. Because it's not only to refer to the patient to the psychiatrist, because psychiatrist must know that what is bladder pain syndrome, what is interstitial cystitis, and how to handle. Because if you are just telling to psychiatrists that you are not able to sleep, they will give some medication for sleeping or anxiety or depression, but they have to treat you thinking that yes, you are a patient of bladder pain syndrome. So that's my dream, that probably in future we can involve all those specialists with our GIBS, and we can make a kind of team. Thank you so much.
Dr. Amita, thank you so much, Amita. Amita, by saying this, you have actually woken us up that we would be strongly coming back to Arun Dahiya and Balaka and the entire ICI and the patient from across the world, that we are looking forward to as GIBS core members, looking at the next aspect of having a combined clinic, a clinic where 2 to 4 clinicians of these sit together so that the decision making happens much better. The decision making, like you have multi-specialty clinics running together, where on given 2 days or 4 days a week, it looks like that we all sit together and look at those patients. For example, there are incontinence clinics where a gynecologist, urologist, and pelvic floor therapist sit together. I think it's time on these specialities, from medical colleges to group practices to clinics to small 2-tier towns where colleagues will combine together. Now that all of them are coming on the same page, agreeing that ICBPS is no more a misnomer and a myth, something which, speaking that it was always taught that in one single paragraph, Campbell's Urology talked about ICBPS, to what today Dr. Amita quoted, that the new Campbell has got a complete chapter denominating each topic to a different aspect of the disease process. I think we're looking at a multidisciplinary clinic happening together, and that clinic will be what could be a dream, where Amita would not have to send a patient to a psychiatrist who, in his own judgment, knowing the subject only this much and not that much, may miss out that aspect of it. So it behoves upon us as clinicians who probably lead the subject in various cities, in various aspects, in various countries around, to look at that we have all the clinicians involved in the subject in our team to understand and probably speak the same language, though they may not speak the same activity around. For example, Dr. Amita will pick up vulvodynia, Dr. Vidya will pick up vulvodynia, vestibulitis, and various gynecological aspects better. And something like prostatitis and aspects on MRI will be picked up more by Dr. Shivam, Dr. Apul, Dr. Mete. It actually will become that we will combine together our clinics where all of us will sit together of various specialties in our hospital and probably look at identifying that like something like a tumor board. Maybe that is a dream that we all have that will prevent multiple movements and multiple appointments and multiple activities to happen around. So that was a food for thought which GIBS have had, and that's something which I would like to wake up around. While we move forward and we're coming closer to closing this, yes, Dr. Shivam, I would
just a comment to the last question. The patient had a painful voiding, right? So when we are considering these patients, so we need to see that if the treatment is not relieving the patient, we need to see that we may need to reconsider the diagnosis also sometime, because if the patient is not having pain on full bladder, or as the bladder is progressively filling and he is having pain only during voiding, then we need to think that the diagnosis could be totally different. So we need to think in such patients about urethritis, prostatitis, etc. Before we treat the patient with ICBPS. So it's very important that we need to reconsider. We need to see the symptoms very precisely, exactly when the pain is happening, whether the pain is relieved after voiding or not, or it is even increasing. In a male patient, we need to think about whether there is a pain during ejaculation or pain after ejaculation also or not. So all these combining would help us to actually reach to the diagnosis and help the patient properly. That's it. Yeah.
Very well said. So revisit the patient every time in a different understanding, depending on the bothersomeness, symptom scores, improvements, and that is what actually answers it quite well. Going to the important torch bearing. While doctors and patients continue to bear the torch and probably take this subject to the enlightenment, it feels very proud today to be associated with GIBS for one important reason. We have got real power horses in women. And when women work, I think, the virus loses and I think things get better and better. So we have got two women, Cheshta and Deepti, who have actually really been torch-bearing the entire GIBS week after week, month after month, year after year, to have brought us to a position where we are in. I really salute the way we have taken this forward with both of you around. Deepti, you and Cheshta could one by one tell us a little bit about this, because patients do contact you because you happen to be the very important aspect of the very gateway towards GIBS core members, doctors, and happening around. How does this entire process work in terms of reaching out to the patient from GIBS, from Swati Spentos, looking at helping them out, enlightening them to look at, you actually sometimes direct a patient to me and they come in to see next day. Sometimes the patient goes to Jaipur or goes to Chandigarh or goes to Delhi. So help us out in understanding what do you go through while patients and doctors go through the tussle of treating. You go through the very important tussle of coordinating. Go ahead.
Okay, so I will start. So first of all, thank you so much, Dr. Pandey, Dr. Shivam, and Dr. Amita for being here and at the launch of this Patient International Day today, because this is only because of you experts. I think we are just a middle person, who can connect doctors and the patient in between. So when we started this GIBS 5 years ago, I think generally, because we generally does this conferences which is doctor oriented, and we invite patient in our conferences just to share their views and the sufferings, and it's just a try to connecting them with you and the other doctors. So slowly we started getting a group of patients. We requested doctors to connect with the patients, and if I can say about helping a patient, we created a GIBS website. In GIBS website, we have a forum, especially a patient forum, where we have educational videos by our experts, and we have we generally does this webinars specifically on IC, on pelvic pain, so that we can patient can directly connect with us and send us a query. This is our responsibility to connect patient either through through this webinars or as you mentioned about the referral system also, because generally in our conferences we invite gynecs and GPs also to come and understand this subject, because they are the first point of contact for the patient. And we got a success in it, because many GPs and gynecologists are now increasing day by day. They're joining us day by day. Now we have a full of lots of gynec and GPs with us, and they're referring a patient to the urologist. And apart from this, we got many inquiries on the GIBS portal after every webinar. We received it from the various doctors, various patients across the world, and sometimes from the patient advocates also, who are representing patient group in their respective countries. And so the inquiries then more about about the continuing treatment, about the treatment failures, about the right diet for IC, the exercise and all. So they are like a bunch of queries which we feel is really important to address. So we have everything about this subject. We know about the disease has got a age to that, but I think there is still a gap and still has much to explore on it. So therefore, I think this is we just came to the conclusion that to reach out those patients, to reach out that the group of patient societies in India and internationally, we decided to keep this GIBS Patient Day, which is exclusively for IC patients, so that we can answer their queries through this platform.
Friends, you heard an encyclopedia speak. She has been there from day one, before the day one. She's been a part and parcel of this entire package by 4-letter word called GIBS. It's quite a proud feeling to hear her speak all this. Can you unmute yourself, Cheshta? You have been encyclopedia number 2. You've been a great initiative holder in terms of taking this forward. We should hear from you too, the way you have been hand-holding the balancing of the patients and doctors and taking this initiative city by city and attempting now country by country. Cheshta, it's yours.
It's a great opportunity which I have got from Swati Spentos and GIBS platform, that I am getting to know about these new diseases from all the doctors all over the world. And I have been connected to so many of you experts that 2 of you have been treated me also on this particular subject. And it feels great that we receive so many queries from patients all over the world. And as I'm trying to getting connected to patient forums from Facebook or from Google search, we get to know about more from them that there is a lack wherein they don't have any doctors to treat them. So it's a good opportunity also for GIBS to reach out those patients from countries to countries. And also I think it's a big day that we are celebrating today to just connect all the patients with us and let them know about, yeah, there is a disease called ICDPS and it is treatable with all our experts. We have us on a panel with GIBS.
Very much. Nice to hear you speak and take this so passionately forward. Friends, we are nearing a closure. It will be wrong on my part if I don't salute the very important duo, Vishal and Swati Jajodia, who actually, I don't know from where and how they thought about taking the subject to such levels where we in India are able to create a forum where we are able to reach patients. It feels so good. It feels really proud today. I mean, today, at least a day when we are just on threshold of a Women Empowerment Day or 24 hours later, it feels good where this team actually took this subject up 10, 15 years ago, looked at creating the molecule, which actually has been known by many names in the country. Whatever is available as sodium pentosan polysulfate today, by many names, is still produced and made by the entire team out here, which actually runs the SSPL. So to take it forward, on one way, the hard lifetime work of Rajesh Taneja, our beloved chairman of this society, the core members who have actually dedicated year after year, coming in meetings, bringing newer ideas and ideas from doing a multidisciplinary team to looking at cystoscopy being added and changed, to bringing the working principles around, and to look at being at the top of the world on a possible subject where we're still evolving as mankind. And we're looking at the agony, need to always think about, can we do more and can we do better? I think today it's a signature day where we look at, this is a great combine. It will be wrong on my part if I don't salute, Balaka Basu and Arun Dahiya for having come up as, leaders on this subject, having brought their own stories forward, both Balaka and Arun, and actually have brought this even Maheshji. All of you have brought it to such levels around where you have actually created a forum. That forum has got a world leading right now. So you lead the subject from one side. I think it's only when we all shake hands across the table, we move the subject forward. Friends, we are coming to a close. I will have the closing sentences from Arun Dahiya first, and then my two beloved colleagues, Dr. Shivam and Dr. Amita, and then we'll take a close. Arunji, your last sentences on this attempt that Swati Spentos GIBS has done today and the kind of initiatives we would always do in future. Go ahead.
Thank you so much for this opportunity and whatever the wonderful work GIBS is doing from the years. GIBS has been a wonderful support and have made us feel heard, and that yes, our problem matters, that it is not something out just we are blowing out of proportion or just a thing in our head. We are being acknowledged. Once when you are acknowledged, this is enough of a support before treatment. Being acknowledged and being heard matters a lot as patients. And thank you so much for this session today, that you heard us and gave us this opportunity to come forward and share our agonies.
Dr. Shivam, please. Sir, muted. Sir, muted, please.
Thank you very much. I think our meeting has served two important purposes. One is that we are doing this on Women's Day, and definitely women need to be empowered in every way if we need to progress. Secondly, in our medical science, I think it is very important that we, doctors and patients, interact. It's very important. Otherwise, we doctors do our meetings, discuss amongst ourselves, and we do not know actually what is happening in that group, the patient group. And the patients interact amongst themselves. They do not know exactly what the doctors need to know. So it's a very good initiative that doctors and patients interact together on such platforms. So I wish you all the best, GIBS and Swati Spentos, for more of such meetings. Thank you very much.
Dr. Shivam, thank you so much. Amita, your last words, please.
So thank you so much for doing this initiative, and congratulations as well. And I will say that I will never forget this day, because it's 7th March, just 24 hours before the International Women's Day. So as I never forget International Women's Day, I will never forget. So it's a very important date and very good way of, choosing a date. And the second thing, sir, I will again, the same thing Dr. Shivam said, that yes, it's patience. Patient to patient talk is more important, because once we said that, yes, you will be treated and you will get relief, probably they will not have that belief, because it's a chronic disease. Once they will talk to other patients of same disease, they will have more confidence. So I hope these kinds of interactions should happen in future as well. And all the best. Thank you so much.
Very well done. So friends, while we are coming to a close on the 2021 International IC Patient Day at GIBS, it is actually a celebration of thoughts that we have all come together on the right forum, which Dr. Shivam rightly said, unless we interact together, we may not possibly be able to break those important bridges to cross and create newer milestones. It will not be possible for me to close the meeting without leaving you all smiling and laughing with Dr. Shivam's last comments. Shivam sir, एक बार गालिब को वापस लाइए, please.
गालिब को तो लेके आएंगे। वो जैसा मैंने कहा था कि उम्र भर गालिब यही भूल करता रहा, धूल चेहरे पे थी और आईना साफ करता रहा। और इसी को मैंने ICBPS से कहा है कि उम्र भर शिवम यही भूल करता रहा कि प्रॉब्लम IC की थी, इलाज कुछ और करता रहा। डॉक्टर पेशेंट इंटरैक्शन के बारे में मैं एक चीज थोड़ा सा 1 मिनट और लूंगा आपका, कि हम लोगों ने यूसिकॉन जो हमारी कोची में हुई थी, वहां हमने पूरा एक ड्रामा किया था ऑन डॉक्टर पेशेंट रिलेशनशिप, और उसको एंड किया था हमने एक गाने से, डॉक्टर पेशेंट। मैं थोड़ा सा 1 मिनट वो गाना आपको चला के यूट्यूब पे है, ये मैं आपको सुनाता।
गाने की रिकॉर्डिंग मैंने की थी, बताइए।
We can listen.
1 minute, just a minute.
I remember that evening. I had recorded this, so I can't forget it. Such a wonderful evening on 20th of January 2020. Yeah, good. So friends, we come to a close on International Patient Day of 2021. While there's so much lined up to improve the understanding of this disease with our general practitioners, with our gynecologists, with our urology colleagues, each of us promises to empower ourselves in the subject. Therefore, a patient in front will not be treated as a patient alone, as a friend in need, whom we'll handhold and probably do a teamwork. If we are in doubt, we will probably call everybody involved, from psychiatrists to pain therapists to gynecologists. We almost always do that. I hope and pray with the initiative that is taken today out here from GIBS, 2022 will be a different story altogether. At some day when we meet together and shake hands, I think we're shaking hands today across the table with all patients who were patients in the past and continue to do good in their quality of life. With that promise, we'll come to a close. We'll leave the meeting. Have a great Sunday evening. Have a great Women's Day 2021. The next date for the next year's International Patient Day could be decided in due course of time. And we will possibly keep it on the Sunday before the Women's Day, so that it will be on a Sunday evening, so that we could spend time and will listen to good closing sentences and good closing messages like the Galib and the Dr. Isi ka naam hai. Thank you again. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, panel.
Thank you. We can leave now. Bye-bye.